With us on this Friday night, game one of a three-game series between the Cardinals and the Colorado Rockies. The Rockies, one of the surprises this far in the National League. Clint Hurdle sees his club above the 500 mark, and they come in with an impressive record considering that the Rockies the last few seasons have really struggled. They're 34-32. And there's a look at their lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Carroll, Spilborghs, and Helton here in the first. Helton has been red hot. Then Holiday, Atkins, and Hop. 4 for 9 against the Cardinals is Hop. Torey Alba is the catcher. The shortstop, Barmas, who grew up a Cardinal fan. And on the mound, Aaron Cook for the Rockies. For the Cardinals, it's Jason Marquis. And Jason has a record of 8-4. His number is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts.
Jason really needs to bear down, concentrate here in this first inning, get command of the strike zone, and most of all, get his pitches down.
First pitch is strike on the outside corner to Jamie Carroll, the second baseman, who's hitting .333. 3 home runs, 12 RBIs. This team, the Colorado Rockies, can hit, folks, and it's not just at Coors Field. They can hit on the road. They're one of the best hitting teams away from home. Hit to second. Aaron Miles is there. The leadoff man retired. Good start for Marquis. Cardinals defensively, we go around the horn, brought to you by Auto Tire. Behind Marquis, Rodriguez, Edmonds, and Encarnacion in the outfield. Roland, Luna, Miles, and Duncan on the infield. Molina's behind the plate. 12th start at short this season for Luna. That graphic, and he has just 1 error. David Eckstein not in the starting lineup. A late scratch for Tony La Russa's club. Suffered some headaches after that double play that he tried to break up yesterday.
Remember, we saw where he got kicked in the head, and so just a mild concussion. So I'm sure the doctors, after examining him, told Tony, let's give him the day off.
It's 90 degrees, a very hot day here in St. Louis. Game time temperature of 90, got up to about 95, 96 this afternoon. This is a player that they are very, very high on. Ryan Spilborghs, and in particular his defense. Out to left center field. Jim Edmonds over. He'll make the catch. 2 down, and it brings in Todd Helton.
Clint Hurdle sees his team as much better all-around players. That is why they are playing and winning on the road. 2 games over 500 on the road. Just had a 4-game winning streak, but Todd Helton used to carry the load. Now he's got a lot of company.
Rockies have won 4 straight. They swept a 4-game set against the Washington Nationals coming into play tonight. And since the 6th of June, this team has been hitting it better than .330 as a team. And a lot of that has to do with Todd Helton. Atkins, along with Helton, since June 1st, have driven in 26 runs combined. Pitch misses just inside. Home plate umpire tonight, Tim Cheetah. Ted Barrett is at first. Laz Diaz at second. Rick Reed is at third. 2-1 the count on Todd Helton. And the last time we saw him come through town, it was a tough series for Helton now, but he was just getting over sickness in which he had lost about 15 pounds. And you could see he just wasn't quite the same. He was getting very hittable pitches and wasn't able to drive the baseball. Now that strength and the weight is back up, and he's hitting like Todd Helton normally hits.
Another one of those viral infections kind of going through sort of what Spezio and Rowland had, but they're all a little different.
Scott Rowland lost about 10 pounds in that infection, that virus. Helton about 15. The 2-2 pitch from Marquis is drilled into right field. Pretty well hit. Encarnacion at the track at the wall, and he makes the catch. So a 1-2-3 inning for Marquis. Good start. Cardinals coming up in their half of the first. No score between the Cardinals and the Rockies. Tony La Russa's lineup reads like this. The former Rocky Aaron Miles will lead it off, followed by John Rodriguez and Scott Rowland, the league's best hitter. Edmonds, Encarnacion, Duncan, who had a big day yesterday, Molina, Luna, and Marquis. Aaron Cook will make the start for the Rockies, a right-hander. And Aaron Cook has lost 3 straight decisions. His record is at 5-6. His number is brought to you by Rico.
See the good ERA, and this kid has a great sinker. He's been having a little trouble retiring left-handed batters, so they said they thought he'd throw more four-seamers this evening. But he can get his fair share of ground balls.
Left a few balls up and over the plate in his last start, and Dodgers rookie Matt Kemp took advantage. He had 2 monster home runs in that game. Cook has only thrown 1 inning. He gave up 1 run at the Old Busch Stadium against the Cardinals. It's pulled foul. You know, Miles has got a little extra incentive tonight going up against his former team.
First time around, he just really played exceptionally, and hitting was the big forte. Hitting in the 8th spot is where he normally resides, and that is an area where he's been able to roll over and get the pitcher through the inning.
There's a ground ball hit to Todd Helton. He'll take it himself, steps on the bag, and Miles retired for the first out here in the bottom half of the first. Around the horn, brought to you by Auto Tire. The Rockies defense. Holiday, Spielborgs, who has a very, very good arm, they say, in center field, and Hopp is in right. Atkins, Barmas, Carroll, Helton in the infield. Torrealba is behind the plate. Gold Glover, Todd Helton over there at first. He does more than just hit. He is a very, very good defensive player. Here's John Rodriguez, average still above 300 at 311. But he hasn't been hitting many balls out of the infield, and his average has dropped. He was well above 400 for a good 2 or 3 weeks. That last pitch, a good indication of the sinker from this right-hander.
Jammed his wrist a little bit, so a little tentative maybe.
Tap foul, finds himself in the hole. No balls and 2 strikes.
And batters have hit a little higher against Cook. Just to give you an idea, he's allowed 7 home runs, but all those have been at home in Coors, none on the road.
Talk about some of the sicknesses with Scott Rowland and Todd Helton. Aaron Cook had a little different ailment. He had blood clots in his lungs, and they didn't know what the problem was at the time, and they couldn't get rid of it. But that was a very, very serious situation in his life. Tapped off the plate and foul.
Had 2 surgeries to take care of that problem.
And the top rib on his right side removed. That relieved compression, and it was an 8-hour procedure. And that was performed at Barnes Jewish Hospital right here in St. Louis. The rib was pressing against his collarbone, really restricting the flow of blood into his right shoulder. Went into his lungs. And that one is ripped fair off the bat of John Rodriguez. And J-Rod is on his way to second base. Line shot off his bat. And with 1 out, he'll stand at second, and Scott Rowland will dig in.
John Rodriguez needs that base hit more than anything. As you said, been slumping a little bit, diminished playing times. One thing, you know, if you're not hitting, you got to hit the ball out of the ballpark. They didn't mind it when he was hitting 400, getting, you know, extra base hits. There you see have a breaking ball. It's setting in the middle of the plate a little bit, hit hard, and just eluded the glove of Helton.
Al, to finish that thought on Aaron Cook, he spent the first 4 months of last season on the DL and rehabbing from that surgery. So that was a very serious situation. Here's Scott Rowland, a very serious hitter right now. He's hitting .355, 8 home runs and 44 driven in. .355, the best batting mark in the National League. 2 of the top 3 are in this game tonight. Scott Rowland leads the league, and Matt Holliday, who is due up first for the Rockies, the top of the second, is 3rd best in the league at .345.
Actually play, you hit to the opposite field. That was Holliday there. Crushes Cardinal pitch.
Comes an 0-1 pitch to Scott Rowland. Like you said yesterday, Scott Rowland telling you that, hey, I've been doing this since day 1, and a lot of people now are looking at me because Pujols is out, but he's right. He's been very, very consistent from opening day.
Not leading hitter in the National League, but you know, it's like everybody's saying, well, he's turned it up a notch. He goes, my approach every day is to excel. I'm not turning up a notch. Usually when you try to do something extra is when you fail.
Pitch misses just in. Further the point about Scott Rowland, what he's done in the month of June, the second highest average in a month. Cardinals all time, 457 from Scott Rowland. You're wondering the highest, Terry Pendleton in July of 1984. He had 462 in that month. Greg Jeffries hit 444 one month back in 1993. Willie McGee in 1985 was 436, and also in the top 5 was Kurt Flood back in 1962.
Defensively, you see how they play him to hit the ball in the outfield to the opposite field. A big gap out in left center.
2-2 pitch. Check swing. No, he did not go around. Full count on Rowland. There's all kinds of room out there in left center field, Al.
Yeah, well, if he hits a fly ball, it's going to go to the opposite field. If he hits a ground ball, they think he will roll over and pull that sinker. As Jamie Carroll's the one that'll play close to the second base bag. Varmus and Atkins are just kind of waiting for that ground ball, him to roll over on a sinker. But this guy's got good stuff.
3-2 pitch from Cook to Rowland. Positioned perfectly was Jamie Carroll. Rodriguez will advance to third. And there's 2 outs and an RBI opportunity for Edmonds. So they had him defended perfectly.
Hit the ball hard, but on the ground, and it'll take care of itself.
As we talked about in the series against Pittsburgh, this is the guy that we were hoping would step it up a notch or two, and that's Jim Edmonds hitting only 247.
He's the key, because Rowland, you know, is exceeding everyone's expectations coming off the surgery. You know, Albert, when he's in the lineup, is going to do his damage. Encarnacion is what he is, and now he's on a little bit of a hot streak. But it's Jim Edmonds is what makes everything go.
Back out in his familiar spot defensively in center. 2 outs, runners in scoring position. Edmonds hitting 269 on the year. Up and in.
Cook
ERA, by the way, for Cook is at 3.75, and you don't think about a Rockies starter, or really any pitcher, with that uniform on having an ERA better than 4.
Well, they're starting to develop and sign sinker ball pitchers, and he is a prime example.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. Reaches for it. Varmus in the hole. Long throw. Scooped by Helton, and they got him. Good play all around. Clint Varmus to Todd Helton, the pick over there at first, and the Cardinals strand a man. We head to the second. Holiday, Atkins, and Hupp coming up. Baseball is involved in interleague play. What is your favorite team to see in interleague play? Our Singular Wireless, who's raising the bar? The Indians, Royals, White Sox, Yankees, Red Sox. 42957 to text your vote. It was a 1-2-3 inning for Marquis in the first. Matt Holliday, third best in the National League with a .345 average. 22 doubles on the season. That's tied with Rowland. Left fielder that has just tore up the Cardinals in his young career. He's hitting .429 this month. And against Marquis, a couple of home runs and 9 at-bats. And he went 7 for 12 in the Rockies' last series against the Cardinals. Just a very dangerous hitter. The son of Oklahoma State, University of Texas baseball coach Tom Holliday. Tom played in the Pirates organization.
Big, strong, tough guy. The first time I saw him, you just sit there and you go, boy, this guy's impressive. And now this year he's delivering.
Chops it to Scott Rowland. Backhanded play, and nifty one at that. Al, he makes that look so easy.
So athletic. 6'4", 240. Come in here, plays his side, but backhanded, but his feet are in position for the throw, and then he gives that little crow hop. You know, a lot of times you don't teach it to backhand it that way when you have time to get square up to it, but 6-time Gold Glover, who am I to tell him?
I talked to Scott Rowland about that, and then I watched him in spring training on one of the backfields down at Jupiter. He specifically works on that play, where most guys, like you say, Al, is a situation where they are asked to get in front of the ball, square up to it. Rowland's a different breed, and who's to tell him anything differently?
Yeah, and, the other guys have to do it because if it takes a bad hop, you square up to it so it'll hit you in the chest, fall to your feet, and you have a chance to pick it up. Well, we know he doesn't miss them, so do it how he wants.
You missed our open at the top of the hour. Jose Oquendo was working with Albert Pujols in the field. Albert did not swing, but by all accounts, he is looking and feeling much better.
Jose hit him 30 ground balls, and then he went over to help instruct Chris Duncan. And there's Albert feeling much better. I talked to his physical therapist, Keith Sanders, and said they worked together, and said Albert really was very, very pleased with how he was feeling. And if he comes out of that activity today, if he feels pretty good tomorrow, then you try and do a few more things, but it's going to be a lot sooner than later before he, when we see him playing. I say he play on the road trip, probably in Detroit.
Another chopper left side. Rowland thought about cutting it off. Luna, the strong arm. That's 3 ground ball outs for Jason Marquis. Cardinal fans, if you're dog lovers, be sure to be part of this year's second annual Purina Pooches in the Ballpark. The date of this year's game is Sunday, June 18th. A very limited number of tickets will be on sale at the Arsenal Schnucks location. And you can come meet a surprise Cardinal guest and get your tickets for the second annual Purina Pooches in the Ballpark. Here's Brad Hopp. He is a strikeout candidate. Struck out 61 times on the year. Talking with Dave Duncan on this last road trip, Al. They want Marquis to be a lot more aggressive. They feel he's got very, very good stuff, but he's kind of a microcosm of this entire staff as of late. Picking too much, trying to be too fine. They want to see him go after some of these hitters and not have a pitch count by the 5th inning that's 80 to 90 pitches.
Right. You like the start that he's under right now. He's going out there being aggressive. And remember, when he wins, he hardly has any opponent's batting average against him in the first inning. And when he loses, it's almost 500.
That was pitch number 24 from Marquis. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Brad Hopp. Right fielder for the Rockies. I look at the next 9 games, and really you want to extend it into the Cleveland series as a measuring point for the Cardinals and just how good they are. This Rockies team is much improved. Cardinals starting staff has been struggling. It's a very good hitting ball club. And then it's off to take on the defending world champion White Sox. After that, you get Detroit, one of the biggest surprises of the year, and a great pitching ball club. Then you'll see Cleveland. So no easy test coming up. Key one of that pitch.
The one thing you have to be careful with is you don't want to say put so much emphasis on the 9 games you play and then relax after that, because any team can beat you. Get a well-pitched game, or you go out there overconfident. So it's a simple, simplistic statement. Don't use it every day. You win the game you're playing today. You try and win series. You win the first 2 games of a 3-game series, then you go for the sweep. But just keep things relatively simple.
Another 3-2 pitch by Marquis misses. And Hopp is aboard, the first base runner for the Rockies tonight. Suppan, Carpenter, Mulder, and Sidney Ponson in the background, the starting staff, along with Jason Marquis. Interesting comments from Tony La Russa this morning when he talked about what may happen as far as the Cardinals' rotation next few series. Sidney Ponson would get starts in both Chicago against the White Sox and Detroit. It's an unappealing matchup for him and the Cardinals. He has not fared well against those two teams. Off the glove of Marquis, slows it up. Miles charges, makes the play. Rockies strand their first runner of the night. No score. Score Rockies and Cardinals as we move to the bottom of the second. Finish our point about the rotation, Al. Sidney Ponson was thumped for 6 runs in 4 innings in his only start at Comerica. And in 4 starts against the White Sox at their ballpark, it's an ERA over 11. And Tony, at least, was asked about Reyes and said, you're always evaluating your top 25. I mean, you're looking at your 25 best players to make the major leagues. Reyes has done just about everything to at least garner a hard look, especially with the rotation struggling a little bit like it has been now.
And Tony usually doesn't just throw that information out there, for just color. He's just. So I don't know if that's a wake-up call or if that's just sort of a preview that there is going to be something to be right around the corner.
Here's Encarnacion. 1 ball, 1 strike. He's raised his batting average 51 points since May 19th. 221 to 272. Encarnacion here, then Duncan and Molina.
Driving in runs. He's doing all kinds of little things. He's a streaky type hitter, and right now he's on one of those good streaks.
2-1 pitch. Another chopper hit left side. Atkins will make the play. Encarnacion the first out as we start playing the bottom of the second.
Brandon Webb of Arizona is considered to have the best sinker in the game, but a lot of people are saying Aaron Cook is kind of like Brandon Webb was about 2 years ago with control.
Remember Brandon Webb a couple years ago, after he had an outstanding rookie campaign, felt that he did not have much behind him defensively and got away from throwing the sinker, and now they have to convince him to throw breaking pitches, and he wants to throw that sinker 90% of the time.
Well, he should. It's that good, and so it's downward action. But Cook has a 4-seamer. He can get that up into the low 90s. He'll throw his sinking fastball 89 to 90. He's got the slider, that changeup.
They shade Duncan a little bit to the opposite field. And he had a big afternoon yesterday at PNC Park. 3 hits, double, triple, a single. Cardinals would win it 6-5 as Mark Mulder snapped a 3-game losing streak.
Duncan has made more contact up here than I thought he would have, but there's a simple reason why, and that is major league pitchers throw more strikes. So when he expands his strike zone, he gets himself out. You throw strikes to him, he's got an electric bat.
Just outside with the breaking ball. It's a full count on Duncan. Considered the top power prospect in the Cardinals organization. 3-2 pitch. And some of the balls that he hits in batting practice are Pujols-esque.
I don't know if you saw it, but the Cardinals signed one of their draft picks. Now, he was a 27-year-old Cuban defector, but in his second pro at bat at Jupiter for Palm Beach, he hit one over the Marlins clubhouse.
That's 500 plus feet easily. Duncan strikes out. First strikeout for Cook. Cardinals also announced today signing of its top pick.
Get 2 strikes on him. Sometimes he gets a little wild with that swing, particularly if it's coming from a left-hander with a breaking ball or somebody with a good breaking ball. But Cook can just pound the low end of the strike zone with that good sinker.
Adam Ottavino is the top pick for the Cardinals, a pitcher, and he signed. Cardinals announced that today. Here's Molina hitting .216.
And apparently he's already in Jupiter with the rest of the new draft picks.
He is destined for the Cardinals' new short season affiliate, State College. Second baseman will take it. That's Jamie Carroll. The Cardinals go 1-2-3. We head to the third. There's no score. Of the St. Louis Cardinals LLC and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals LLC. Fill out your All-Star ballots. About a month away from the All-Star game at PNC Park in Pittsburgh. There's Clint Farmas, hitting just .208, the shortstop for the Rockies. He was hurt first time through against the Cardinals. We didn't see him. Farmas grew up a Cardinal fan, not too far away from here.
Vincennes
played at Olney Community College in Illinois before focusing strictly on baseball at Indiana State. Played 2 sports at JUCO. Part of the Missouri Valley Conference, Indiana State.
Last year he had a terrific April, and then he got hurt. But some people are now saying, you know, really, if you examine his record closely, he only has had 1 good month. That was the April last year.
Just want to hit out to right. Encarnacion there. Yadier Molina asking for it up from Marquis, and he got it there.
A few times, you know, you want to get the ball up. You see him standing real tall, and he hit his spot. But if you throw, you know, you're going to throw your 4-seamer up there. But when you go down, 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 and then all of a sudden you change, you know, with your sinker or your breaking pitches down, then all of a sudden you want to throw that 4-seamer up to get him to chase.
See where Marquis was asking if he wanted it higher. More so than it was, as Miles puts away the pitcher, Aaron Cook. So first time through, Jason Marquis out very sharp through the order.
And that's all you asked for. You know, he did walk a man, but majority of the time he got ground balls. He got 4 ground balls, but really the others were kind of little fly balls that people got underneath, and sometimes it wasn't a sinker. It was would have been a 4-seamer.
Jamie Carroll will take his time inside that batter's box. Gives us time to tell you about a special day tomorrow at Rittner High School. Don Thompson, who helps us out in the clubhouse with the Cardinals, has a signing. And from 11 to 12, Adam Wainwright, Gary Bennett, Chris Duncan will be there signing autographs. And 12:30 to 1:30, Al will be there, Ken Daly, Kenny Reitz at Rittner High School. And all the proceeds will benefit sports programs inside that Rittner School District and Rittner High School. So Don Thompson putting on another special show tomorrow. We hope to see you there.
Don's been doing that for a lot of years. Big memorabilia, 60 dealer tables there, and we're all very happy to help him out. And it starts when 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Wainwright, Bennett, and Duncan will be there at 11 o'clock till 12. Good pitch by Marquis. You'll be there 12:30 to 1:30 with Ken Daly, Ken Reitz, and Al Rabowski will be there. By the way, if you'd like to find out more, you can call the Baseball Card Show hotline, 493-6000, extension 1020. And coming up in our telecast tonight, we are going to visit with, and I say it's a Cardinal favorite, even though he was here a very brief time. Will Clark is going to join us over the phone.
He had an impact.
Sure did. Another good pitch by Marquis, and doesn't get the call. Just outside, maybe a little low. It's 3-2.
But when you're missing there, you're going to be in fine shape. Dave Duncan will tell you that Marquis is big and strong. Go out there. Tim Cheetah, the home plate umpire. Mulligan will be on base, so there's no Bach. Didn't hear Bach, did you?
No, you didn't. Another 3-2 pitch. Carroll may have helped him out. Pitch that was low.
Again, that's the beauty when you're pitching ahead in the count, or if you got to where the hitter sees you hitting the spot all the time, then they've got to expand their zone to kind of protect.
This one is pulled just foul. The Rockies have 3 hitters that have 400+ averages in the month of June, this being one of them. Jamie Carroll comes in hitting .415 for the month. Garrett Atkins and Matt Holliday as well. Clint Hurdle has seen his team have 4-game winning streaks, a bunch already this season. Their wins have come in bunches.
Well, they've changed their philosophy. You know, there's no longer do we hit home runs. You know, remember when they had the Bombers?
The Lake Street Bombers. Marquis off his glove. Miles can't get it out of his glove. And it's a base hit for Jamie Carroll. First base hit that Marquis has allowed.
They used to have those Bombers. Now they've got much better players, all-around players. That's why they play well on the road. Ball up a little bit, got the ground ball, deflected it away from Miles. Does a good job to get to it, but just couldn't find the handle to make it complete the throw.
Brings in Ryan Spilbords. Previous series against the Rockies, we saw a lot of Chu Freeman, also Corey Sullivan. And this time around, it's going to be this gentleman, Ryan Spilbords, who flied to center his first time up.
Read about Corey Sullivan. He's had a major league record. 7 sacrifices the last 2 days.
Right.
First time, you know, the most ever. And I think it said 131 years of history.
1-0 pitch, up and in.
Fall behind. First time he really fallen behind, or one of the few times. And so Molina go out there to get him back in the groove.
Al, another aspect of this Rockies team, and maybe the most surprising, is that they are 18-16 on the road, and that's better than their home record.
Yes. You know, they play baseball now. You know, they don't play arena baseball. And you know, they've got sinker ball type pitchers. They got a couple veterans down there in that bullpen to help out. Good leadership.
See if they want to do some running. 2 balls and a strike. Their leadoff man, Jamie Carroll, stands at first with 2 outs. There he goes. Molina. He's got him. He got him. Oh, yeah. Carroll caught stealing. That ends the top of the 3rd. State baseball history brought to you by Schnucks. Cardinal Ken Boyer hits an inside the park home run for the 3rd consecutive week back in 1959. This date in baseball history.
Captain was one heck of a gentleman, and he was a man's man.
Born in Liberty, Missouri.
Cleat, another excellent third baseman, primarily with the Yankees. Cloyd was a pitcher in the big leagues. Lenny, the youngest brother.
Boyer always a Cardinal at heart. Native Missourian.
Had him as a minor league manager.
Returned back in the 1970 season. Lazy fly ball to right. Fair ball caught by the Rockies right fielder. Luna retired. Brad Hopp with the catch. And here's Marquis.
Got 2 pitchers who are having a little fun out there, aren't they?
They sure are.
Fun to watch guys that are aggressive in the strike zone, attack hitters.
Going to check in with Joel Goldberg momentarily. He'll give us an update on David Eckstein, who was a late scratch in this lineup tonight. His spot would normally be on deck. That's occupied tonight by Aaron Miles. Marquis is hitting 167, no home runs, 2 RBIs. Rockies just completed that sweep over Washington. And it's 4 times this season they've had winning streaks of 4 games.
And they've all come on the road.
That's right. 1-1 pitch. Marquis slaps it the other way. That's going to drop in there for a base hit. Cut off by Holiday. He's thinking 2. Throwing to second base. Not in time. Marquis with a double.
Bit risky, but the way Holiday fielded that ball, his body was not going forward, spins around and tries to set himself with a throw, and really had nothing on it. but the throwing arms of the Colorado outfielders are all exceptional.
They say the center fielder has an absolute cannon. Ryan Spilborghs. Here's Aaron Miles. He grounded to first his first time up. We're back to the top of the order. There's no score here in the bottom of the third. RBI opportunity here for Miles. All kinds of room in the right center field. Chops it towards the middle. Barmes is there. Advancing on the play. Marquis to third base. We mentioned again Miles, the leadoff spot tonight. Filling in for David Eckstein. The reason why, we check in with Joel Goldberg.
Well, I talked to David Eckstein, Dan, before the game. He took that hit in the head, turning the double play early yesterday. Said he felt it for about 5 minutes, and then he felt fine the rest of the game. Got off the airplane yesterday, had a headache. That headache did not subside today, so they took him out. A minor concussion, mild concussion. They'll take it day by day. I asked him if he'd ever had a concussion before. He said, yeah, I had a severe one. I said, when was that? He said, in the 5th grade, he got undercut going up for a layup. His basketball career did not last much longer than that.
Didn't have much of the size for that hoops career. Baseball.
He was a big 5th grader, though.
Probably was, Al. David Eckstein was All-State in high school, All-American at Florida, and an All-Star last year in the National League. John Rodriguez had doubled his first time up, his first extra base hit since May 28th. That was a double at San Diego. The 1-0 pitch. Second time the Cardinals have had a runner at third base.
Rodriguez reached there. Back in the first. They play the left fielder relatively close to the line. Center fielder shading left just a little bit. Right fielder straight away.
1 ball, 1 strike on John Rodriguez. Marquis, the runner at third, no score. Rodriguez hits it to short. Barmes, backhanded play, long throw. The Cardinals strand their second runner of the night. We've got 3 in the books here at Busch. Spilborghs, Helm, Holiday coming up, and there's no score. Cardinals, as we welcome you back to Busch Stadium in downtown St. Louis in the 4th, and we head to Louisiana. Joining us on the line, former Cardinal Will Clark. Will, always a pleasure to visit with you. How are things?
You know what? Everything's going good, Dan. Appreciate you asking.
Well, we want to jump right into this. What was it like for you wearing that Cardinal uniform at the very end of your career?
I tell you what, that was the most fun I ever had playing baseball. And I told a lot of people that anything ever happens in St. Louis, they can count on Will Clark being there, because I absolutely love the way the fans treated us, and I love how the organization treated us.
Well, I remember a flight back, you were holding court on your first flight out of Montreal back to St. Louis. You had about 10 or 15 of the Cardinal players back there, and they were very intently listening to you. But the short time you were in St. Louis, you made a tremendous impact.
Well, thanks, Al. I mean, late in the career like that, Tony had called me into the office, and he said, you just be you and do what you do in order to get us.
Will Clark is with us. I also remember on a charter flight, you having a little fun with a guy like J.D. Drew. Well, it sounds like
we lost.
Will just got sick of us, Al.
J.D. just pulled the plug on that story. I remember it, too.
We'll reestablish our contact with Will Clark. The first man retired, that was Spilborghs, and a ground ball to short. And here is Todd Helton. Helton fly to deep right field his first time up. A catch by Encarnacion on the track and right.
And I think going back to that fly ball, I thought when it left the bat, it was a home run for sure, especially on a warm night. So indication on one of the warmest nights we've had a game here that this ballpark can contain some blast. Travels better to left than it does to right, though.
0-2, the count on Helton. Good pitch, called out on strikes. And for Marquis, that's his first strikeout of the night, 2 away. Will Clark played in 6 different postseasons. Wrapped up with the League Championship Series with the Cardinals 2000 when they lost to the Mets. And who could forget his first one back in 1987 as Will Clark is back with us. 1987, you were wearing that Giants uniform, and you went against the Cardinals. What do you remember about that series, Will?
You know what? That was an unbelievable series. And, John Tudor was having a hell of a year and pitched some magnificent ball games. Dave Dravecki was having a great year for us, and he threw some great games against the Cardinals. And then, the big thing was Jeffrey Leonard with the one flap down and sort of inciting the town of St. Louis. And I was like, oh, my God, I'm in trouble now.
Will Clark is going to stay with us through the break, and we'll come back with him and visit some more. There's no score midway through the fourth here in St. Louis. As we move to the bottom of the fourth, no score. Scott Rowland grounded to second base his first time up. And with us on the phone lines, Will Clark. I remember your first at bat. We were back home for the first time since the trade took place, and you went deep. What did that mean to you, Will, to be able to give the hometown fans something that they were yearning for as you made your first appearance here in St. Louis?
You know what? It was an unbelievable experience because, I walked up to the plate and the people in St. Louis were giving me a standing ovation. And, I was just trying to get my game face on because I had to face Glavin, who I wasn't having too much success against. And he threw a first pitch fastball, and I got a hold of it. And the fans had just literally just sat down. They got right back up again. I was like, that's pretty spectacular.
Well, in a very quick time, you won over the hearts and minds of the Cardinal fans. After that season, they all wanted you to come back, but you told me, you said, I got about 14 floating chips in my elbow. It's just not going to work.
Al, you know it from being a left-hander. I mean, once them things start breaking loose in your elbow and floating around, I mean, you only have a limited amount of time. And I had my third elbow surgery prior to that season, so I think the writing was on the wall, and I decided if I was going to go out, I was going to go out, while I was still on top.
Why don't you tell everybody what you're doing now? Working
for
the enemy.
My agent, who was Jeff Moorhead for all of those years, he and I were friends for 20 some odd years. He became the CEO of the Diamondbacks, and he asked me and Matt Williams to come on board as special assistants, and so that's what we're doing. And right now I'm trying to stay out of the picture because they got a lot of turmoil down there.
We weren't even going to go down that road, Will. We were going to let you off the hook. You were too good to us. We wouldn't do that to you.
Hey, listen, I can tell you one thing. I told y'all at the beginning of the interview, I mean, out of all of my baseball I've ever played in my life, those 3 or 4 months in St. Louis were the most fun, and I thoroughly enjoyed it the most. And I want to thank the fans of St. Louis because they made my job real easy.
Well, I don't think Tony La Russa gets enough credit, and it really comes through when you talk to opposing players. They don't know what he's about until they get a chance to join him as Edmonds picks up a base hit. What did you know about Tony prior to from your days in the American League, and then what did you learn about Tony when you had a chance to play for him here in St. Louis?
Well, the thing that I knew about him being in Oakland and I was in San Francisco was I knew he was, very intense. And, which is the way that you want your manager to be, because you don't want somebody who's going to roll over. You want somebody who's going to fight for you. And I did not know when I got to St. Louis how organized he was. When you walk into the clubhouse, you got scouting reports, and they give you, 2-1, this guy throws a breaking ball, 2-0, this guy throws a fastball, et cetera, et cetera. And by him being that organized, it made not only my job, but also my teammates' jobs a lot easier.
A manager can do a lot of things, but you need some veteran leadership like yourself. And without really naming names, talk a little bit of how your role as being an extension of the manager, but also players can't fool players, and how you police each other.
Well, as you well know from being a veteran player, Al, I mean, this game is about being handed down. I mean, the veteran player hands it down to the younger player. And, in my days, in your days when you came up, you just didn't sort of talk. You just listened and yes, sir, and thank you and all that. And that's sort of how you policed yourself. The manager sort of wrote the lineup down, and then the players policed themselves. Well, now it's getting to the point where the players are getting a little on the wild side, and the manager's got to do the policing. So I thought I had taken what, was handed down to me and just tried to impart it on several people, J.D. Drew included.
I was just saying that before our phone lines broke up. I remember being on that charter where JD got an earful from Will Clark, but it was all meant in fun, and it was trying to include him in, wasn't it, Will?
Well, you know what happens is, I mean, a lot of times, you know, a joke can go a long way, and you know, if you make one joke about somebody, then all of a sudden he takes it to heart, and he becomes a better player because of it, hopefully.
And really, it's not a joke at the player's expense. You're trying to teach him a lesson.
Exactly. You know, and that's the one thing that I had told JD in the back of the plane was, you know, he was having one or two problems every day. It was costing us a run, and I said, you know, when you're playing playoff baseball, you can't give away runs.
A throw comes in, and stopping at third, Jim Edmonds. Well, Will, we appreciate your time tonight. Best of luck with the Diamondbacks and with the situation that you're currently in. Look forward to seeing you here in St. Louis very, very soon.
Guys, thank you so much. Al, I'm definitely going to play in your golf tournament here pretty soon. And to the fans of St. Louis, thank you so much.
I'm also going to change hunting season so you can come to Legends Camp.
There you go, partner. I'll make Legends Camp, too. You can count on that.
All right. Thanks, Will.
All right, buddy.
Will Clark with the Giants, the Rangers, the Orioles, and finished up with St. Louis. Over 2,000 hits in his career. Well, that was fun.
Oh, he's a good guy, but this is a nice piece of hitting. This ball's up a little bit higher than what Cook would want and sliced over the head of the right fielder into the corner. And the Cardinals need one more big hit, and it needed from Chris Duncan.
One out, runners at second and third. Duncan struck out swinging, the only strikeout in this game for Aaron Cook back in the second.
Yesterday he had a golden opportunity, and he struck out the first time up, and he learned from it and delivered after that.
Filling in for Pujols again tonight at first base, Chris Duncan. Runners at second and third. The 1-0 pitch. Check swing, a ball outside. Time of that trade, Mike Timlin was part of it as well. Will Clark was just the perfect guy at that situation, that point in time of the season, a shot in the arm.
He was with Baltimore, wasn't he?
He was with Baltimore.
Yeah,
that's
he was
right.
with Baltimore, and I remember talking with Brooks Robinson afterwards. He said he just absolutely fooled me because he thought he was through. He really didn't do much with Baltimore, but when that trade and coming back to the National League, getting in a pennant race, whatever he had left, he gave it all, and it was fun to watch.
2 balls and a strike on Chris Duncan. Room into right center again for Duncan. Pitch by Cook. Duncan hits it high in the air, out to left. Will they test Holiday here? Edmonds will draw the throw. He's going to come on home, and he's going to score. RBI for Duncan. And the Cardinals lead it 1-0. Not a great throw from Matt Holiday out in shallow left.
And a outfielder is supposed to have a very strong throwing arm. But you're right, way offline, didn't have much on it. And the Cardinals take advantage of it, so Duncan picks up a big RBI, the first of the game.
1-0 Cardinals. It brings in Molina with 2 outs. Glad you brought up the point with Will Clark as to why he did not come back, because people really wanted to see him back. And at that time, you were unsure about McGuire's status, too.
Well, and you know, the class act that he is, that he didn't take advantage of the situation, because he could have come here for the money and then say, well, I'm hurt.
Molina rips it up the middle. That's a base hit. Encarnacion will score easily. A 2-out RBI base hit from Yadier Molina. 2-0 Cardinals.
Molina's been coming alive with the bat of late, but you go up there and you just try and be simple. Try and hit the ball up the middle. There's, I think, what you were talking about earlier, where Cook has been getting more balls up in the zone than what they were accustomed to, and that's why he's been struggling the last couple of 3 games. But you're still, a 3.75 ERA is still awfully good today's standards.
Luna flied to right his first time up. Hits this one to third. Atkins will go to the force at second. The Cardinals strand a runner, but they pick up the first two in this game. RBIs for Duncan and Molina. 2-0. Almost upon us, I guess, right here in downtown St. Louis. We're close. Dusk is probably the best way to put it. Just about here. Al Raboski, Dan McLaughlin with you here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Here's Garrett Atkins, who is grounded out to short. We're in the fifth. The Cardinals lead it 2-0. Second time through the order, you've seen Marquis go to more breaking balls. First time through, primarily just seeing the sinker. Atkins is hitting .332 on the season. Another ground ball out. Duncan will take it. It's the sixth ground ball out for Marquis. Father's Day this Sunday. Coca-Cola commemorative baseball day. Treat your dad to a game and he'll receive a baseball highlighting the new Busch Stadium. That's Coca-Cola commemorative baseball day this Sunday. One out. Here's Brad Hopp.
You gotta like what you see from Marquis. They're attacking hitters, doing what they want.
At some point in this series, whether it's tonight, tomorrow, or Sunday, more than likely we will see Jason Isringhausen pitching here at home. And that's a hump that he's got to get over.
I said the first game on the road trip, when he saved a game, that I wasn't concerned about his performance on the road. His next test would be saving a game at home.
He has heard the boos this year, despite the fact that he has 22 saves on the year.
Leads the major leagues.
Which leads the majors, but he's had blown saves, and they've come at home. And it's magnified when you do it here. 2-1 the count. All-time saves leader now in Cardinals history, Jason Isringhausen. Past Lee Smith. Also his seventh straight 20-save season. We saw a lot of first pitch fastballs out of Isringhausen during the road trip. Getting ahead in the count. That's the second walk issued by Marquis tonight. One out walk to Hopp, and it brings in Torrealba. Tonight, a special edition of the Best Damn Sports Show period will count down the top 50 memorable plays in baseball history. Ozzie Smith's Go Crazy Folks home run, Mark McGwire's 62nd, and other great Cardinal moments rank among the most memorable plays in baseball history. It's the Best Damn Sports Show period tonight, following Cardinal baseball and the post-game report. So he's walked two, and twice it's been Hopp, and now it's Torrealba. Rounded out his first time up. He's 0 for 1. Talk about the talent on this staff, and a lot of people will point, whether it's scouts or even the coaching staff currently of the Cardinals, a lot of people point to the man on the mound, Jason Marquis, just trying to put it all together.
He's tied for second in the National League. He wins. He's the youngest of the starters, too.
1 ball, 1 strike. Good late action on that last pitch from Marquis.
Hitters will tell you that, you know, that late action when the ball explodes right at the point where they start their swing is probably the most difficult pitch to hit.
Up and into Torrealba.
Just can't center it. Pitched enough inside to keep guys a little bit honest. Change speeds, but
Torrealba.
One time for a long time, it doesn't appear that he's trying to overthrow pitches, particularly in the first inning or two.
First season with the Rockies. Rounds it left side, and a base hit between short and third. First and second for Barmes.
Situation, pitcher looking for a ground ball, trying to get a double play. He got the ground ball, but it found a hole.
Tenth round selection by Colorado back in 2000, the shortstop Clint Barmes. All-Star a couple of times in the minor leagues. And finally made it to the big leagues in '03. Limited time there.
And a good RBI man, considering he's a shortstop.
81 games a season ago, hit .289. Tying runs are on here in the top of the 5th for Colorado. Majority of these players, Al, are homegrown talent, guys that they drafted. Out to shallow right, Duncan backing up, and Chris Duncan makes the catch. Have to wonder if he was waiting to be called off by Miles and then finally went and got it for the second out.
Mutt and Jeff there, but a nice play, and you know, it's a better angle for the second baseman, but he gets back there with his long reach, and it looked like Miles never quite got there. He might have been there, but it didn't appear that he was calling off Duncan, so you go back until you possibly are called off, but you don't want to pull up short at the last second.
Long reach of Duncan.
I was talking to Albert about how tough it was to watch the games on TV, and he said real tough. You know, he wants back out there.
Check swing and a strike on Aaron Cook. One final in, Detroit over Chicago. The Cubs lose 5-3 the final. Robertson the win. Went 7 innings. He's now 7-3. Jones the save. His 18th. Glendon Rush only lasted an inning and 2/3. Took the loss. He's 2-7. Cardinals scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 4th. And Al, as you well know, as a pitcher, you want to shut him down as you move forward the top half of that next inning.
Dan, and that was one of the problems with the starters and the relievers when they're in that funk, is they could not stop the other team. Cardinal offense would give them a lead, and then they went out to the mound and gave it right back.
Yesterday, a prime example. But the Cardinals were able to hold on.
Yeah, and Mulder went out and lost 2 leads, but he didn't lose the 3rd. Got the win.
Went 5 innings yesterday at PNC.
It really is the responsibility of that pitcher. Go out there and use it. You know, during the course of a game, you're constantly motivating yourself. You constantly challenge yourself. But when your team goes out and gets you runs, that's when you have to bear down even harder to make sure the opposition doesn't close the gap.
Swing and a miss, a strikeout for Marquis. The Rockies have stranded 3 tonight. Midway through the 5th, Cardinals on 5-0 for the Cardinals, 0-2-0 for the Rockies as we move to the bottom of the 5th. Defensive story tonight, Al.
Well, it really is. You got 2 pitchers that are going out there competing hard, throwing a lot of strikes, a lot of sinkers. So naturally, your infielders are going to be very in tune. They know they're going to get a lot of work, and they're ready for it. There's been some nice plays in this game, but I think you're talking about a defense that's on their toes, because both pitchers throw a lot of sinkers, a lot of ground balls, the action, and it's just so much better for the quick and the pace of a game. Guys are on their toes instead of back on their heels.
Marquis doubled his first time up. Took the extra base as Matt Holliday was a little lackluster and a ball hit to his left. A win tonight, Jason Marquis goes to 9. He'd be 9-4 on the year. We turn to the Aflac trivia question. Marquis 1 for 2. Aaron Miles will dig in, followed by John Rodriguez. Aflac tonight. Here we go.
Aflac!
It was the last time the Cardinals and Rockies played more than 2 series in the same season. More than 2. We'll see 3 this year. Rockies, by the way, hold a slim advantage in the all-time series between the 2 teams. 63-60 against the Cardinals. The majority of those wins at Coors Field. Cardinals have never played well there historically.
No, but the Rockies played exceptionally well for a team that was a poor road team. They played it very well at Old Bush. Cardinals won 2 out of 3 the first meeting here.
1-1 pitch to Miles. 2-1.
And Hurdle's knows he's got a team that's pretty competitive, and they actually have, as we mentioned earlier, a better record on the road than they do at home.
Cardinals, good series against the Pirates, just took 2 of 3.
And isn't it true that the Rockies pitching staff has allowed the fewest home runs at home of any team in the National League?
They use now, Al, and they're serious about this.
The frozen balls?
They use the humidor.
No, the humidor, the opposite.
Right, with the baseballs. And they really feel that has been a major reason why the numbers are way down on both sides. Now, you touched upon a real important point. The fact that they have switched their philosophy. If they're going to draft pitchers, they're going to get sinker ballers. That's a factor. But they looked at the numbers on both sides. Other teams coming in, those home runs have been down. The Rockies' home runs have been down. And it's actually played to be a fair ballpark.
I really question, is it legal? Why isn't that, a little bit distorted, but you're facing a baseball? And that probably comes from the old days, in the minor leagues. They used to put baseballs in the freezer to make them rock hard so they would travel further.
1-0 pitch to Rodriguez. Another bullet off his bat tonight. He's 2 for 3.
Done a good job when he's gotten a start, and the starts have been coming very sporadic of late, but with a couple hits here tonight, I think he'll get more swinging the bat this way.
Scott Rowland's RBI single in the 6th inning yesterday. Ultimately, the difference in the 6-5 win. Average dipped 3 points to 352 with a couple of groundouts tonight, twice to second base. 2 outs, runner at first. Rolling out to center. And we have played 5 innings. 2-0 St. Louis. Back to the Aflac trivia question here in St. Louis. Well, the Cardinals have a 2-0 lead in the 6th. When was the last time the Cardinals and Rockies played more than 2 series in the same season? Back in 1997. This is already the 2nd time that the Rockies have come through town.
Natural rival for the Rockies, and with one extra team in the Central Division, it's every year at this time in interleague play, the Rockies get to play one of the Central Division clubs.
Cardinals will be in Colorado. 3-game set, July 24th, 25th, and 26th. They say there's a little buzz in Denver about the Rockies. After the last few years, they've seen attendance way down after setting all-time marks. They first came out of the gates, and people are excited about this team. And they should be. It's been a long time since they've seen winning baseball. And that West, Al, is truly up for grabs.
Sure. I mean, every team is over 500. And I think 2 games is out is the last place ball club.
One of the things that really frustrates the fans of the Rockies is that Florida came in the same year that Colorado did. They have won 2 World Series championships. That frustrates a lot of people, including some of those here in St. Louis. Arizona came in later, and they have won a World Series championship. This one out to right, that'll carry to Encarnacion. Pitch count and the pitch speed for Jason Marquis. The pitch count is at 74. And you've seen the variance in speeds tonight from the Cardinal right-hander.
Well, when you watch Jason Marquis throw this ball game, you sit there and you say, I'll take this guy anytime. And this is what he is capable of doing. Pending free agent, and if teams scout this game right here, you say, I want it.
Ground ball hit to short. Luna, backhanded play. 2 outs. Spilborghs is 0 for 3, and it brings in Helton. He's 0 for 2. Next episode of Cardinals Crew, starring Andy Bennis and Fred Bird, airs tomorrow at 11. This week, Cards closer Jason Isringhausen. The proper way to get a grip on a certain pitch, you're going to find out tomorrow. Cardinals Crew, brought to you by Grant's Farm, Saturday at 11, right here on FSM Midwest. I want to remind folks it's another Saturday night telecast for us tomorrow night here at Busch Stadium.
Juan does not see it, but Miles does. No, he doesn't.
And it drops in for a base hit. Molina hustling all the way, was covering over at first, and Todd Helton reaches with a 2-out base hit. And the Rockies catch a break, and Encarnacion had absolutely no idea where that baby was.
Immediately, look, he's got his hands out there saying, I don't know where it is. Then Miles calls for it and is 15 feet behind him. But this is, we were talking about dusk. This is what happens at dusk. And a lot of times the lights haven't taken effect yet, and guys lose balls in the lights or in that kind of a
sky,
opaque sky and everything. It's not dark enough to really see the ball. So that happens more times than people might believe. But Juan did the immediate thing. He told everyone he couldn't see it. Miles put the biggest deke on everybody.
He had no idea.
Well, but he was calling for it.
Right. It's Matt Holliday. Held check thus far. Will the Rockies make the Cardinals pay here? Holliday is grounded out and flied out to right. 0-1 pitch by Marquis. Tap foul.
Dan, we talked about how psychologically a pitcher keeps on challenging himself. This is a perfect place right there. Some guys will go out there and, you know, feel sorry for themselves. I should be out of the inning. Other guys hold their head and say, those guys were trying. It was an innocent mistake. I'm going to show them how good I am. I'm going to make sure it doesn't come back to haunt us.
0-2 pitch. They want it high, and they get it there. Marquis went 6 innings on Saturday against Milwaukee. Did not have his best control in that game. He walked 5, struck out 2, but he allowed only 2 earned runs. And he received enough run support till the bullpen gave up the lead in the 7th. That time he would have tied for the league lead in wins.
Yeah, he's won 5 straight, and then that no decision.
Foul back again off the bat of Matt Holliday.
Dangerous pitch there.
Here comes a 1-2 pitch. Molina wants it on the outside corner, gets it there. Called, 3rd strike. They punch him out. A check swing, and they got him. 3rd strikeout from Marquis. 2-0 red feature brought to you by your Mid-America Chevrolet dealers, Al.
We're going to take a look at the last 2 pitches. Change the eye level. Early in the count, it was down. Then now to put him away after throwing the ball up, he throws a slider. It wasn't all the way down, but it was off the plate. It starts out looking like it's going to be in plate, breaks off it, and got him to check a swing for the strikeout, 3rd of the night.
Well, you know when Marquis is at his best. He throws strikes, he pounds the bottom of the strike zone, he gets ground balls. Even though he's been winning, it's been a little bit of a different story this season. His ground ball to fly ball ratio unusually low for Marquis this season, but he is giving up fewer hits than he has previous to this year. He's gotten away with it.
And there are times where they, like you saw when Molina's asking for the ball up around the shoulders, you know, he's not asking a sinker up there. He's asking for the 4-seamer. So incorporate different pitches.
It's something that has been better tonight. He has only walked 2, and coming into this game, Marquis had issued 10 free passes in his last 2 starts. Edmonds not a very good at bat. He strikes out. That's number 2 on the night for Aaron Cook. Here's the home run update for Albert Pujols, brought to you by Hardee's, home of the thick burger. Albert with 25, so 12,500 has been raised. And that heads to the Pujols Family Foundation, thanks to the good folks at Hardee's.
How about Albert? Been out 2 weeks tomorrow, and still leading the major leagues in home runs and RBIs.
Soriano has 23 home runs. Albert at 25. Encarnacion, 1 out and nobody on. Juan doubled and scored back in the 4th. Grounded out to 3rd his first time up. We're in the 6th, 2-0 Cardinals. Couldn't pull the trigger.
Both these pitchers are showing some excellent stuff. Cardinals with some timely hitting, and Marquis has controlled that.
Good pitch. Entering this season, he was 19-13 in his career. 5-6 this year, Aaron Cook. Pitch count 75 for Cook, 83 for Marquis. Scott Ellerton of the Kansas City Royals tossing a no-hitter through 5 against Houston. And he was the one that was very vocal after the series with the Cardinals about the play of the Royals.
His original club. Encarnacion we talk about. Now watch out. Many times that didn't really happen there. The stutter step happens, but a lot of times I think it happens when he gets his top half of his body over his lower half. But that time it was back a little bit, but he always has a little stutter step coming out of the box.
There's Duncan with an RBI tonight. Sacrifice fly. That was back in the 4th. His 7th RBI. He struck out swinging in the 2nd. Didn't like that call. 0-2. Milwaukee leads Cleveland 4-0. That's in the 4th. Doing that against Mr. Sabathia, one of the top lefties in the league.
I don't think that no-hitter's intact anymore. 4-2. Kansas City still leads, but Houston scored a couple.
White Sox leading Cincinnati at last check 11-3. Minnesota on top of Pittsburgh 3-2. Up and into Duncan. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Talking with Dave Duncan about Chris Duncan coming through the system, and in his mind at times he felt the organization made it tougher on Chris.
Oh, players, all the players. You know, early years, said you're only here because of your father.
Rounds it sharply to 2nd, handled by Carroll, and Duncan retired. We head to the 7th. The Redbirds on top, 2-0.
FSN Midwest, where Cardinals fans come first.
What's on tap brought to you by Bud Light. Jeff Suppan and Jeff Francis. Francis 5-5 on the year. Suppan is 5-4. And we'll get underway with the pregame show at 5:30 tomorrow night here from Busch Stadium. That game again seen right here on FSN.
And there's another good young homegrown player, our pitcher, Francis. You saw his ERA, 3.76.
He's already had a start against the Cardinals where he dominated St. Louis earlier. 1 pitch and 1 out. Good start from Marquis here in the 7th. Atkins retired. He's 0 for 3. This is, well, we've seen Marquis pitch in a long time.
Absolutely. Out there in complete command. He's controlling the strike zone and the counts.
And Al, the thing is that it comes down to a situation with Marquis. His stuff is so good, just trust it. He's got good stuff. Here's Brad Hopp.
You know, we talked a little bit about Mulder, and when you get in a little bit of rut, you want to outthink yourself. Instead of going muscle memory or repeatable delivery, get into that same release slot for all your pitches. Because all of a sudden you try and think too much out there.
One of your favorite phrases is pitch to contact, and Marquis has done that tonight. There's some contact for you down the right field line. Sneaks over the wall, and it's gone. A home run for Brad Hopp, and the Rockies are on the board, his 13th. He's walked twice, and now he is homered. That cuts the lead to 2-1.
He walked twice yesterday after not walking for about 17 games, but this guy's got a lot of pop. He's got a great road average, but there he got a breaking ball. You know, the left-hand hitter, the one that starts around the belt but ends at the thighs, is right in the wheelhouse of a left-hand hitter, and he didn't miss it. Pulled it right into the left field or the right field corner, shortest part of the field, but it all counts.
Another ground ball out. This time to Roland again. Torrealba 1 for 3. Alfonso Soriano with another home run tonight, his 24th. Washington and the Yankees tied 5-5 in the 8th. This week on the Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week, the Red Sox visit Atlanta to take on the Braves. An interleague showdown between two of baseball's traditional powerhouses. Coverage begins tomorrow at noon. High definition only on Fox.
You know, Dan, when we talk about pitch contract, there's a whole bunch of guys in the Hall of Fame that used to give up 30, 35 home runs a year. But what they were solo shots. They were trying to get guys to get themselves out early in the count. You couldn't appreciate those stellar pitchers until they had a couple guys on, and then everything was so much faster, sharper, more tilt, and that's when they really bared down. But you know, why throw 7, 8 pitches to retire a guy when you can do it on one?
Rockies have a right-hander getting loose in their bullpen. The pitcher is on deck. Barmes out to shallow right. Encarnacion there, and it's time to stretch here in St. Louis. Home run allowed by Marquis, cuts the lead in half, and it's 2-1. Cardinals picked up their 2 runs in the 4th, and it's 2-1 St. Louis here in the bottom of the 7th. The pitchers duel tonight, Aaron Cook and Jason Marquis. Danielle Montag is tonight's merchandise winner. The Hyundai Lawn Drive Inning Sweepstakes. If the Cardinals hit a home run in the 7th, Danielle qualifies for the Hyundai Sonata drawing in September. Visit a St. Louis area Hyundai dealer to register. Molina with one of the RBIs, Duncan the other. Brad Hopp has picked up the RBI for the Rockies, a solo home run. It's the 5th time this season that Hopp has homered in back-to-back games. 4th time on the road. Good-looking lineup.
There's a lot of the Rockies. It seems like their offensive numbers are better on the road than they are at home.
Majority of them are.
Yeah. There's Brad Hopp out there, the right fielder.
Molina out to deep left field. Holiday back near the track, and he makes the catch. The Yadiers had a little pop the last couple of weeks as he picked up his first 2 home runs. Cardinal fans, pick up a copy of today's Post-Dispatch to get your St. Louis Cardinals historical ticket collection coupon, redeemable at over 500 participating retailers for only $1.99 plus tax. Luna here, and then Marquis on deck. Entertaining ball game tonight here at Busch.
Oh, it's a very good ball game. Both teams out there, very competitive, close game where everybody sitting on their seats because one pitch could determine the outcome.
Luna has hit over 300 when he starts. This is his 34th start of the season tonight.
Sacrifice a little bit of range where they play short or second base, but ball jumps off his bat.
One thing you got to love about Luna, too, his arm. He has got a very strong arm. Versatile for Tony La Russa. He's played first, second, third, short.
And you know, other than that one game in
outfield
in Milwaukee, it's the only time we've ever seen him really have trouble with his outfield play.
He was drifting back on balls. Off the end of the bat and a base hit for Luna. We have a Cardinals question that you're just dying to have answered. Email the postgame show at mwsr@foxsports.net. Ask our experts. Be a part of the show. If your email is read on the air, we'll send you an FSN prize pack. That's mwsr@foxsports.net. You can bunt in this situation. You can hit and run with Marquis. A lot of different things you can do.
And it might change with every pitch. Cardinals could pick up a game on Cincinnati, who was defeated by the White Sox already tonight.
Big lead at first by Luna. Arguably has the best speed on the team over there at first.
Torrealba has thrown out 2 of 6 would-be base stealers.
1 out, runner at first. Another check on Luna. Ellerton lost that no-hitter in the bottom of the 6th. He gave up 4 hits and 2 runs. The half inning. Kansas City last check on top of Houston 4-2.
7-2 now.
7-2 now. Can help out the Cardinals if St. Louis can hold on tonight. First pitch to Marquis, a pitch out and undoing. They're thinking the same thing we are.
That's why all Cardinals starting pitchers are, having a chance to be offensive players or contribute, but Marquis obviously the most dangerous, and you can do so many things with him. And with him in on this situation,
broken bat, possible double play. That's 1 on to first, double play. We head to the 8th. Marquis back to work, and it's 2-1 St. Louis. Dan McLaughlin with you, downtown St. Louis, Busch Stadium. Pinch hitter we're going to see is Jorge Piedra. What has turned out to be a pleasant night for baseball. Real hot afternoon today, mid-90s here in St. Louis. 90 degrees our game time temperature. See the sweat on the cap of Jason Marquis. Piedra came over from Chicago back in 2002. Very effective pinch hitter a season ago. Well, they cracked the big league roster. Time with Colorado Springs, their AAA affiliate. First pitch hit the opposite way. John Rodriguez there. That helps out Jason Marquis here in the 8th. 1 pitch, 1 out. That's the same way he started the 7th.
Pitch into contact, and it really keeps that pitch count down.
Seven innings for Cook. 2 runs allowed, both of those earned on 7 hits. Marquis still throwing hard. That one at 92. Pitch count closer to 100, edging that way. .91 pitches by Cook.
94 by Jason Marquis. 60 strikes, 34 balls. 61, 33, a little bit different on the stadium and our count.
Cardinals will have the top of the order coming up in their half of the 8th.
Colorado very happy with the acquisition of Jamie Carroll.
1 for 3 tonight. Marquis has allowed just 4 hits. Knocks it down, stays with it.
At the foot.
Ouch, he is limping. Here comes Barry Weinberg. that one has got to sting.
And sometimes you get it on the bottom of the foot, but if you get it above there, it's right around that ankle. So a good sign that he's putting weight on it, but it still doesn't feel very good.
I believe it was his left foot, which would be his plant foot.
It seemed like it was right above the, right on the swoosh, right?
Actually was on his right foot, the guys in the truck tell us, so foot that he pushes off with. Take another look. Marquis asks for one more toss.
It's a right foot. He spun around there, got him right above the sole of the foot, and he's going to.
May not feel it as much right now. He will tomorrow morning. He's got the juices flowing. He's pitching a great game.
That's a very good point, you know, or until you stop. And I think because of that precautionary, gets some ice on it. Tyler Johnson's warming up.
Spielborg's out to shallow right over Duncan. Miles chasing after it, slides and spins to it. A 2-out base hit. Molina again, good hustle down the line and covering first base. Tonight, special edition of the Best Damn Sports Show period. Count down the top 50 memorable plays in baseball history. Ozzie Smith's home run, Mark McGuire's 62nd. Best Damn Sports Show period coming up later tonight following the postgame show. Well, here's a dangerous man, Todd Helton. Dave Duncan's going to go out and talk to Marquis. As you mentioned, Al, they've got the lefty getting loose.
Well, they got him left getting loose, and he might just come out here and say, come on, really be honest with me. You think you can get this guy? Give Tyler enough time to warm up. Could be just a stall tactic. But he's pitching a great game, and you just don't want to put something ahead. You know, first, your health is first and foremost. Looks like they're going to stay with him, but the time Dave gets back to the dugout would have sufficient time for Tyler to be prepared for Todd Helton.
Marquis has had success against Helton tonight.
But when you have a game like this and your pitcher's performing like this, you really want him to finish the inning so he can come out on top and get his due from the crowd.
Helton 1 for 3, and that one hit should have been caught. It was lost in the sky out in shallow right field. Good pitch to start him out with in the outside corner to Todd Helton.
Sometimes you go out there and you say there is a right-hander, Holiday up next, but you got to be very careful right here.
Pretty big lead over there. Another good pitch. Marquis does not get the call. 1 ball, 1 strike. Spielborgs is the runner at first. Good speed, a center fielder for the Rockies. Against Marquis, 7 for 21, but Marquis has had the best of Todd Helton tonight.
The second time when he carved him up, strike looking.
1-1 pitch. Helton pops it up left side. That pitch may have been a little too good for Marquis' liking.
Well, but here in the 8th inning is still a 92-mile-an-hour pitch, so still some life left in his arm.
It's a big pitch coming up with a ball and 2 strikes on Todd Helton.
That's the key thing, is he's ahead in the count. If he makes a mistake, you know, you got an exceptional hitter up there, but if you make a good pitch and you've got the count in your favor, you can keep him off balance, not knowing what. Said to shake his head, fastball away.
Here comes a 1-2 pitch. 2-2. Todd Helton, of course, a couple of years ago. Big home run that helped out the Cardinals off of John Rocker. Remember that? Yeah, about a weekend of the season. Cardinals would get home field.
They got Looper up now. He can get ready quick enough for Holiday. If
2-2 pitch.
His last 2 are just some of the fewest ones he's overthrown, but also a byproduct of the pitcher getting tired. But I think it's more of a benchmark because of the line drive off his foot. You're not driving off the same way once your legs go a little bit, or in this case it's sore, you have a tendency to elevate your pitches. Back off, come nice and easy. Old-fashioned
3-2
hard ball.
pitch. Fouled away by Todd Helton.
Got that ball down, but it's a nice little battle here, and it's been pretty much a lot of hard stuff.
Three and two. 2 outs, and that runner from first off with the pitch, so a ball that gets in the gap may score him. The outfield is extremely deep with Todd Helton at the dish.
Well, in this situation, he's being played back.
Here comes a 3-2 again. Helton, vicious rip, fouled it back. It's 5 fastballs in a row from Marquis to Todd Helton. More pitches he sees, the more dialed in he gets.
Well, the first couple he was kind of going out there, but you can see the way he takes that. He doesn't want to put too much pressure on that foot. First couple he was pushing uphill. The last 2 he's kind of at least getting the ball down. And Molina's saying shake his head, but they're going back to the book is they don't think he can get around on that fastball.
3-2 pitch, and Helton hits it high in the air out to right center field. That'll stay in the ballpark. Encarnacion is there. Marquis through 8. 2-1 Cardinals. Jack in the Box game recap tonight. It's 2-1 Cardinals here in the bottom of the 8th. Yadier Molina with a thrown base stealer out at second, also picked up an RBI. Chris Duncan with the other RBI for the St. Louis Cardinals. Those 2 runs were scored back in the 4th. It's 2-7-0 for St. Louis, 1-5-0 for Colorado. Pop with the solo home run. Scott Doman is the new pitcher for the Rockies. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by your Mid-America Chevrolet dealers. 17 games. You saw the numbers on Doman, a right-hander, and he will face the top of the order for St. Louis. Cardinal Baseball on FSN is brought to you by Bud Light. Refreshingly smooth Bud Light, always worth it. By Chevrolet. See a Mid-America Chevy dealer today. Chevy, an American Revolution. And by Advance Auto, we're ready in advance. Al Babosky, Dan McLaughlin with you. Busch Stadium in St. Louis. But recently, the Cardinals have struggled at home. Cardinals went 4-2 on the just completed road trip as Miles looks at a strike.
Scott Doman is a new pitcher, and he has really baffled left-handed hitters, only batting 158 against him.
Miles hits it out to center, pretty well hit, and over the head of Spilborghs. Miles to second, and it's a leadoff double. He was playing very shallow in center field, and Miles put it over his head. By the way, you can meet Aaron Miles tomorrow at the Cardinals Clubhouse store at the St. Louis Galleria from 12 until 1:30. Get an autograph and a last-minute gift for Dad at the Cardinals Clubhouse store at the Galleria tomorrow. Spilborghs was playing very shallow, and that one goes right to the Bud Light side.
Well, their former teammate, and I think they think he's going to be playing, you know, really got a singles hitter up here. They're shocked that he hits one over the head and stays in the ballpark. But I think they just kind of look at Aaron Miles as a single hitter. And as I said, left-handed batters have really had a tough time against this right-hander.
Cardinals will pinch hit. Let's see if they want to bring out Taguchi, who can play defense in left for Rodriguez, also sacrifice in this situation as well. It is so Taguchi. Well, the Cardinals have lost 5 of the last 6 home games, including that sweep Cincinnati put on the Cardinals. Trying to change that trend tonight.
But if I tell you, would you be a bit surprised if I told you that here for the 9th inning is Braden Looper warming up?
Very surprised.
Gucci, fundamentally sound. Sacrifice or some way, somehow, you would think he will get the man over.
The bunt, a perfect one. Helton goes to first. The sacrifice is good as Miles moves up to third.
That was not an easy bunt with Helton, a Gold Glover, and extremely aggressive defender charging right down on him, trying to get that lead man there. Deadens the ball perfectly down the line. Helton adjusts after slipping, but no play for Miles at all.
Al, I know one of the reasons they felt Isringhausen struggled, especially in that game against Ken Griffey Jr.
Overworked.
Yeah, exactly. Is they'll intentional pass Scott Rowland. He had thrown 90 pitches in 7 days going into that game in which Griffey hit the home run, and that beat the Cardinals and set the tone for the rest of the series. I'm sure that's a factor as Isringhausen picked up his 22nd save yesterday, and of course he picked up the save in game 1 of that series, and Looper has looked very good the last couple outings for him.
That's right. So you see Jim Edmonds on deck after the intentional pass and look for a pitching change to bring in the former Cardinal Ray King.
Edmonds faced King the first series between these two teams just one time in that series. Sorialba calls time. He'll visit on the mound. And here comes Clint Hurdle. Edmonds 1 for 9 against Ray King, the former Cardinal. So a double switch coming up for Clint Hurdle's club. Tell you about that when we come back. Runners at first and third. Edmonds comes to the bullpen, brought to you by your Mid-America Chevrolet dealers, Ray King. And the Rockies have been very pleased with the work of King, a record of 1-2 ERA under 3 in his 20-plus appearances. It's 2-1. Edmonds will dig in with runners at first and third. And center fielder is Corey Sullivan, part of the double switch. Past 3 years combined, Al, the Rockies bullpen easily the worst in the National League, but they feel it is much improved here in 2006.
Well, they went out and they got Mesa and they got Ray King. They caught a break when they got Ramirez. By the way, Mesa not available tonight, serving the 3rd game of a 3-game suspension. So he's not available. And let's see if Jim can add to that positive stat.
First pitch by King to Edmonds. Ground ball past Helton into right. The run scores. That's Miles rolling on his way to third. Edmonds delivers here in the 8th. Now he's on his way to second base, and it's a 3-1 Cardinal lead. Edmonds delivers. The hustle of Scott Rowland sets up the advancement for Edmonds to second base.
And it was a good throw, but it hit Scott Rowland, trickled away. But here we go. Scott Rowland is one of the absolute best base runners, and his excellence in going from first to third. He and Pujols are outstanding. Now Jim Edmonds saw the ball trickle away from the third baseman. Ray King retrieved it, but not before Edmonds got himself in scoring position. And now with Edmonds advancing, the traditional double play is not in order.
Encarnacion will be the hitter with 1 out. Some insurance out there at second and third. By the way, Scott Rowland, if he does not come up again, it'd be only a second time since May 24th he has not had a hit in a game. How about that? Has he been producing? King wants to talk it over with Encarnacion. They've had a right-hander getting loose the bullpen for the Rockies.
I'm sure that is. Shouldn't say, is it? I think it's Ramirez.
Well, you've either got Cortez or Ramirez, Al.
Yeah. Ramirez, they just say, is just unbelievable. Got him in the Chacon trade. he has just been a pleasant surprise.
He has got a power arm.
E9 allows Edmonds to go to second base.
Ball one to Juan Encarnacion. Tonight, a double and a run scored back in the fourth. He is grounded out to second, grounded out to third. Cardinals lead it 3-1 here in the eighth. King staying away. 2 balls, no strikes.
And Duncan on deck, or the scheduled hitter.
Cardinals have switch hitting Spezio, Eckstein, or Bennett from the right side if they choose to use it that way.
You would think that it would be Spezio. There's Scott looming in the background. He could go in to play first.
A 3-0 pitch by King. Outside, 4 straight, and he walks in Encarnacion. They're going to pull back Duncan, and Spezio will come up. It was a week ago in Milwaukee when Scott Spezio had the bases loaded, and he cleared him.
Well, the thing that scares me about this is the fact that it's not his forte. 16 of his 19 RBIs have been driven in with 2 outs. And there's only 1 out this situation.
Spezio, you might remember from the telecast yesterday, we had a shot of him. He got to first base after reaching with a base hit up the middle, and he grabbed the jersey of first base coach Dave McKay. It looked like he was ready to fall over.
I asked him about that, and he said I was fine, but for the moment it was almost like he got real dizzy, like you know how you jump up and you do something and all the blood drains out of your head. It would just lasted for a split second, but he said, yeah, he had to do that to steady himself because he felt like he was going to pass out, but it went away very quickly.
So King pitches around Encarnacion to load him up. Force at any base. That's 5 straight balls he's thrown.
He's been missed about a week with a viral infection. Then on the road trip, he still wasn't 100%. In Pittsburgh, he said he started, throwing up and couldn't even keep water down. So that's why we were all concerned when we saw that reaction at first.
Cardinals with 9 hits tonight. The Rockies just 5. St. Louis on top. 2-0 the count.
Ray has been their best pitcher ERA-wise on the road games. Defensively, they kind of swing him around to hit to the opposite field in the outfield.
The 2-0 pitch to Spezio. Ball 3. And now you've got 7 straight balls thrown by Ray King.
Elton, I'm sure, is going to come over and say, Ray, they're not going to be swinging. Just throw a strike. But sometimes that's the toughest time to throw a strike is when you know they're not going to be swinging.
That ERA on the road, 1.54. That's in jeopardy of going up.
He got off to a good start. Then he had a little rough spell. Must have been playing at home. And then been very good on the road again.
3-0 pitch. He walked him on 4 straight. And it's 4-1 Cardinals. RBI for Spezio as Roland scores. Those 2 runs charged to Doman, and Clint Hurdle, a long walk from the dugout back to the mound. And not a good outing by Ray King. He came in, the single to Edmonds, a walk to Encarnacion, a walk to Spezio. We talk about power arms in the game of baseball, and this young man possesses one. Opponents only hitting 157 against him. ERA of 2.15. This will be his 25th appearance. You see the 31 strikeouts. We saw him pitch in the final game of the 3-game set earlier against St. Louis. And Al, he can flat out bring it.
Yeah, but it's much more than just the velocity. He has a disappearing slider. And you talk to the Rockies coaches, they'll say, you don't really see it, but you see really funky swings at it. Or you just see guys that it's not big, it's real tight, real small, and they swing and miss at it. And he was also telling me that he's got a devastating changeup they'd like to see him use more.
Here's Molina.
There's a slider there that Yadier did not offer at.
Yadier Molina hitting .382 in the month of June. An RBI base hit back in the fourth. Included in there is King. 9 straight balls have been thrown.
Another slider that looks like you see it and it just come up empty on it. Disappearing slider.
Goldman, a third of an inning. 2 runs allowed, 1 hit, 1 walk. Inning started with a double by Miles, sacrificed by Taguchi, intentional pass of Roland, RBI single, Edmonds, air on the play, back-to-back walks to Encarnacion and Spezio. Now it's Molina. 1 ball, 1 strike. Loses the bat on that disappearing slider. Wow.
Gotta believe it now, right?
Sure do.
Watch it, you know, it just see ever just so slightly, but it's that, it must be that real late breaking action. Just bottom it out a little bit, but it has to appear like the fastball, and then it just all it has to do is a couple inches late, and you'll be you don't miss every bat.
Good numbers with the bases loaded for Molina. 1-2 pitch. 2-2.
Every pitch he's thrown has been that slider, and Yadier is maybe starting to pick it up a little bit, or realizing if I swing at it, I can't hit it, so I might as well take it. Just look like I'm going to swing.
2-2 pitch. Molina pops it up. The catch is made by Helton.
Came from the Yankees in the Chacon deal, and Rockies say, well, if he was still in the Yankees farm system, he'd probably be buried in Double-A someplace.
Molina looked like in frustration he was going to throw the bat. Watch the catcher's reaction here. Yikes.
That's pretty good deke. You got the catcher out of the play. Problem was the pitcher and the first baseman, and then Helton called off the pitcher. So don't you think you can catch that?
Here's Luna. Hector tonight 1 for 3, a base hit back in the 7th. Up the middle, that's some more insurance. 1 run in. Here comes Encarnacion. The throw from center is cut off. The throw over to third gets away. Spezio's going to score. Luna on his way to third, and he'll stop right there, and the bases are cleared. 7-1 Cardinals. Two errors in the inning by the Rockies. The Cardinals have picked up 5 runs in their half of the 8th, and it's now 7-1.
7-1, and Sullivan comes in here, fires. Then you got the Gold Glover. Todd Helton tried to get Spezio going to third, throws wide. That scored him, and you can see these guys are just sitting there frustrated as came in with a nice winning streak in the road and came in here in a very, very competitive game until this inning.
2 errors this inning, and that one charged to Helton. And now Timo Perez will be the hitter. He hits it down the right field line. That's trouble. That's in the corner. 8-1 Cardinals. Perez digging for 2. 4 hits in the inning. 3 walks. And now an 8-1 Cardinal lead.
All 3 of Ray King's runs come around to score. Because of that. See, it looked like a change up there, and Timo Perez jumped all over it.
Perez was a pinch hitter for Jason Marquis. His night is through. Back to Miles. He started this whole thing off. Marquis goes 8 innings, as Looper is ready to roll for the ninth. 8 innings for Jason Marquis, 5 hits, and he gave up a run. Aaron Miles shoots one to Jamie Carroll. And the Cardinals are through in their half of the 8th. They bat around in the inning. They lead at 8. You're the wireless. Who's raising the bar? What is your favorite team to see in interleague play? Indians, Royals, White Sox, Yankees, or Red Sox, and it's the Yankees. Our singular wireless question. We thank you for voting. Some changes for the Cardinals defensively as we move to this top of the 9th. So Taguchi, who's a pinch hitter for John Rodriguez, stays in the game. He'll play left field. Scott Spezio, he was a pinch hitter for Duncan. He'll stay in the game and play first base. Spezio delivered a bases loaded walk. Taguchi a sacrifice. And a new pitcher is Braden Looper. This will be his 28th appearance on the year. Looper worked a couple of times against the Pirates in that just completed series at PNC and looked very good.
Threw the ball much better, had a little life on it. Had good velocity, but he was hitting his spots. And got that splitter and slider.
Matt Holliday, the hitter, to start the 9th. 8-1 Cardinals behind 11 hits tonight. Jason Marquis, 8 innings, 1 run, 5 hits. He walked 2, struck out 3, gave up the home run to Brad Hopp in the 7th. It just seems like it was yesterday that this took place, but just moments ago, the key out in this game, Todd Helton, as Marquis is wearing down, and he got that final out for himself in the 8th.
Cincinnati's already lost. Houston is about to lose. They trail Kansas City at home 7-2 in the 9th. But Dave Duncan has to be very, very pleased with what he saw from Jason Marquis. And now with the big lead, it was going to be Looper's 9th all the way. You know, Izzy never got up even when it was a 2-1 game.
Presume, Al, that they're just trying to make sure they don't overwork him.
Yeah, you know, he's been throwing a lot, and you know, you got to spread it around sometime.
Ball third strike on the outside corner. When the Cardinals signed Looper, they signed him the intent of being the 8th inning guy and at times being a closer.
Right. So, you know, there are going to be times where we know you aren't going to be able to use Izzy in a save situation. And I think it's just, you know, trying to make sure next time he pitches at home, he's well rested.
First pitch strike to Garrett Atkins. Crowd tonight 45,736. Sold out again.
Seats are getting tougher as the summer goes on.
Yes, they are. Atkins tonight. 3 ground outs against Marquis. Let's give you some finals. Yankees over Washington 7-5. We mentioned that Soriano did hit a home run for the Nationals. Now one back of Pujols. Rivera the win. He's 4-3. Detroit over the Cubs 5-3. Robertson the win. He's 7-3. Jones a save, number 18. Minnesota over Pittsburgh. Liriano 6-1. He goes 7 innings. Considered one of the top young left-handers in the game. Looper almost caught it. A jam shot back to him. Flips to Spezio for out number 2. Tonight's play of the game is brought to you by Budweiser. We go back to the at-bat against Todd Helton as he continued to fight off pitches. Helton would then eventually, on a 3-2 pitch, fly out to Juan Encarnacion, and that's your Bud play of the game.
And swung at ball 4.
Sure did. Tampa Bay over Philadelphia 10-4. Shields the win. And the White Sox, as you mentioned, Al, over Cincinnati 11-5. Garcia the win. He's 8-4. Clausen took the loss 3-8.
And it is a final in Houston, Kansas City 7-2.
So if the Cardinals can hold on, they go up by 3.5 games. All three have seen first pitch strikes by Looper. Trying to finish it off for Marquis.
95 miles an hour. Looper had trouble with lefties last season when that shoulder was kind of barking. He did get 28 saves, had the AC joint cleaned out.
One hopper to the second baseman. Aaron Miles has got it, and the Cardinals win it as they take game number 1. 8-1 the final. 8-11-0 for St. Louis. 1-5-2 for the Colorado Rockies. The winner, Jason Marquis. He's now a 9-game winner, 9-4 on the season. Aaron Cook takes a loss. He drops to 5-7. Cardinal Baseball produced by Bud Productions, an exclusive presentation of FSN Midwest. Stay tuned. It's the Midwest Sports Report coming up.